I'm teaching Charles Dickens in my NET batches these days. So I was rereading this book, Charles Dickens, A Critical Study by G.K. Chesterton. And I planned to make a video for all of you. Charles Dickens was a genius. There are contradictions and there are criticisms also. Charles Dickens was adored by millions, yet questioned by critics. A reformer, yet sometimes prejudiced. So, a genius of storytelling, yet accused of lacking seriousness. So, who is Dickens really? Point after point, let me clear the points to you. In the literary history of the grand tradition of English literature, Dickens stands as the voice of Victorian society, a bridge between entertainment and reform. His novels were serialized, widely read, and socially explosive. Poverty was his lived experience, his childhood trauma, the first-hand experience of working in blackening factories haunts his fiction. You remember Oliver Twist, the workhouse scene. Oliver says, "Please, sir, I want some more." So here we see the childhood and the brutal system. David Copperfield, Murdstone's cruelty, factory labor, that autobiographical pain. I was explaining to all my students that one should read the first-hand literature if they want to understand what trauma is. And Bleak House, who can forget that beautiful novel with the linguistic mastery in the first sentence? The novel, you have a character, Joe, the street sweeper, if you remember. His famous sentence, "I don't know nothing." So here, poverty versus invisibility. Or I would say that poverty itself is an invisibility. That is Dickens, one who was preparing our way towards Franz Kafka's world in the trial. For Dickens, poverty is not moral failure. It is a social injustice. And industrialization and utilitarianism, when I was explaining to my students, so I talked about hard times. So Dickens attacks Jeremy Bentham's philosophy of utilitarianism. You can see Grant's classroom scene where he says facts, facts, and facts. And C.C. Jupe versus Bitzer, imagination versus calculation. So Dickens warns us that when humans become numbers, society loses its soul. This is exactly true in the AI age, particularly in the field of literature. That if we keep talking about the written facts or the assembled facts, we can't imagine more. So we will lose soul ultimately. What about law, delay, and social decay? In Bleak House itself, Jarndyce versus Jarndyce, the endless legal scene, the case of that legal scene. Miss Flight, if you remember, driven mad by this delay. So justice delayed becomes a form of violence. Don't you think this is applicable to India particularly, where crores of cases are pending? So revolution and violence, one should remember A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of time, it was the worst of times. The guillotine, the mechanical justice, Madame Defarge, revenge personified. So Dickens sympathizes with the oppressed, but fears uncontrolled revolution. Class illusion and moral growth in his novels, you have to see or read Great Expectations. Philip Pirrip's Shame of Joe, Miss Havisham's Frozen Trauma. Ambition without morality leads to emptiness. Thank you very much.